yesterday, science and spirituality was also like that only. It's like an yeah.
Namaste everyone. Welcome to our 20th day of the World Interfaith Festival. Today we'll have a guest speaker, that is Dr. Sasikumar. He is one of the leading spiritualists, I'll say, my friend, and used to work at the government of India as a scientist, security officer in the parliament. Moreover, is a follower of one of the exponents, spiritual exponent. He is going to explain his life, how is going to travel, how he traveled from Kerala to all over India and go around the globe, how he promote to humanity in his own way. Here is Dr. Sashikumar. Floor is for you.
Namaskaram, Dileepji, my brother. I finished listening to your questions and answers given by our brother Massimo Perno on the other day on science and spirituality. It was so gladdening when we are just starting, easier. I was just mentioning the other day, I was listening to your conversation on science and spirituality. And yeah, I have also gone through various discussions, learning, sharing. I am not at all a religious person. I am a person with spirituality. Unfortunately, religious practices has overtaken the religious practices, has overtaken the spirituality. Therefore, the basic, vibrant aspect of spirituality, which is supposed to be governing the religious practices, have been lost. Therefore, religion is something which people want to fight with each other. People make fun of when there is a, now Dileepji has put the name Guruji, somebody says Acharya, somebody says Swami. Especially in India, the Hindu monks are looked down by most of the Hindus. They don't realize, I don't know, being a Hindu, people can live like a Hindu, I'm using word very carefully. Live like a Hindu without even knowing what is Hinduism. And in whole life, probably by mistake, they landed upon some so-called priest or maybe Swamiji or Guruji or Acharya. Maximum, if you take 99.99% of the Hindus, don't even have a guru, don't even have a guide for making them learn what is spirituality, what is religion really. I'm sure, is it not, Dileepji? 99.99% of Hindu people don't even meet either a guru or a Swami or a master who knows what is religion and what is spirituality to learn from them. Whereas other religions, probably they have a ritualistic way of listening to their lecture, listening to their preaching from childhood to build up. That is because Hinduism never believes in a religious practice. Religious people are not part of Hinduism at all. You need not. I don't remember that lady who spoke on that day was mentioning, you need not learn to be spiritual. You need not learn about anything to be spiritual. I forgot her name. That is what it is. But what has happened in this part of the Eastern philosophy, people thought that they know, or they pretended that they know, and they never made an attempt to learn. If you know few lines of songs, japa, maybe some slokas here and there, you go to a temple even without knowing what is happening there, still you can be called as you are highly religious person because you are going to temple. Therefore, I said most of the religious people are not spiritual. Now I am saying most of the religious people are not systematically religious also. Therefore, what happens? All the rituals which we do, the word rituals, which is religious rituals, has become a very low standard English word to be used when you do anything without knowing the perfect meaning. You say that, yeah, he has done it ritualistically. The lecture was ritualistic because he don't involve himself. There is nothing new. You don't even think. It has been repeatedly doing the same thing without understanding. Is called rituals today. The word came because the religious practices have become so ritualistic. I'm using the negative word. So ritualistic without even understanding the real spirit of rituals. This is where probably we keep repeatedly listening great experts who speak about their religion when they come to interfaith meeting like this. Actually, what I wanted is, probably if you're really in an interfaith meeting, you should not talk about your Swami, you should not talk about your ashram, you should not talk about your religion. You must be able to talk about other religions and say, oh, I know little bit about others. Okay, what do I know about Buddhism, Jainism, Islam, Christian? Yeah, there are a lot of documentary movies. Probably I have seen hundreds of them. The Jainism, when we say it's a mix of Hindu and Muslim mixed together. Sikhism, we have got a group of people who are very closely associated with some part of India. Probably now Canada is being owned by them, or they may become prominent. We learn in our textbooks a little bit about religious people, the division in the geographical locations where who is ruling. But understand, as India, we were mixing with Saurashtrians. We were mixing with different religious people, taking all of them inside us. And therefore, India totally has got an interfaith life. That is why probably we have been so diluted in Hindu ritualistic activities because we accepted all of them. But where is the conflict probably happens is, their plays have been so dominant. The other religious people have become so dominant in being systematically ritualistic. Therefore, the learning part of the Hindu religion by themselves have only resulted in some of the Puranas and Idihasas, which is not at all Not even 0.1% of the concept of Hinduism. Is it Vedic and Upanishad knowledge? No, it is also not that. That's where I don't remember that lady who spoke on that day. You need not have that knowledge about different religions, different gods, different customs and systems to become a spiritual person. According to me, if the yoga practices which we have, not what traditionally India has, very rarely people know what is traditional yoga. Probably Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyana, Samadhi, in which forget about Dhyana and Samadhi. Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara, Dharana. Up to this, if you can practice, you are reaching very close to spirituality. Up to this only you can be guided. And one practical man who must have reached the first step of Yama would have been Mahatma Gandhi himself. Non-violence is what is Yama. The whole proponent of non-violence is Mahatma Gandhi. So if anybody is qualified to speak about 8 steps, one step when Mahatma Gandhi reached, he had a great message for the world. You can imagine if somebody reaches 6 steps, what could be the message the world can take from such an individual. Niyama, discipline, which we lack. We keep talking, but we don't. We don't stick to our discipline. It's self-discipline, not somebody imposing discipline. So understand the yogic practice, which was part of the spirituality, never talks about imposed discipline. It is self-discipline. Therefore, I can decide the way I want to dress up. I can decide the way I want to put my hair, put my style. Nothing is imposed. That is freedom. How can somebody talk about spirituality when your freedom is curtailed? There are a lot of conflict because of this. The real spirituality is not understood when I am not conscious about being me. Every external materialistic decorations which you do are non-spiritual. Then how can you impose a very special dress code, a very special style of keeping your hair, very special style of keeping your mustache, beard, and you say that is what is religion? That's stupidity actually. So niyama is self-discipline. Yama, niyama. Asana, asana is what fashion you like to sit, which is convenient to you. Sukha asana is what is asana. There is nothing called I have to keep my leg folded in between and do in Padmasana, then only I am a yogi. See, it has been so tilted, you are a gymnastics to become a yogi or what? Sukha asana is whichever asana is so comfortable for you. So we have been put into ashrams in which our seat has to be little up so that my leg will become so comfortable. That practice of putting a, in childhood also we have been eating food sitting on the floor. We have got what is called a wooden platform. That size for each people it is given different. In my house there are maybe 8 to 10 different heights. So I pick up what height is convenient for me. So it is not same seat given to everybody. So sitting itself is a big science. The way you sit on a platform to eat itself has got a science. That is science of life. That is what is asana. The wooden plate itself is called asana, which I have to simhasana, means like a lioness seat. Normal asana is for common people. So we all use asanas, but not simhasana. When you become a king, you would use simhasana. That's always the difference. See, understand each word has got a great message in our daily life. That is why we say Hinduism is a way of life. While eating, there is a practice. That's also ritualistic. So yama, niyama, asana, pranayama. Most confused and misused religious practice. When I want to concentrate on something, if I am listening to a music, I hold my breath. It was a breathtaking experience for me to see a dance. That when you experience, you control yourself. When I'm a singer, when I'm a speaker, I am controlling my breath in such a fashion which is not when somebody else asks me to hold the nose and hold the mouth and then take one nose, take another nose. These are all stupid. What is to be done? When I chant mantra, automatically the breathing is controlled. Pranayama, Vyanodhana, Samana, Shuddhyandam, Jodhareham, Virja, Vipatma, Bhuya, Sangha, Swaha, Vakmana, Chakshu, Srotra, Grana, Chikwari, Do, Buddhya, Sangalpa, Shuddhyandam. When I'm chanting, after that only I'm taking my breath. Now I take a breath. So this practice of breathing is by the chanting. It is so natural to you, not artificially built in you. And each individual has got his pattern based on his health conditions, based on his practices, based on his parameters, the physical parameters, and naturally he improves it. Whereas today it has become like a punishment, close your nose and somebody will tell you when to open. And that religious person who does it charges you 1 lakh for teaching breathing practice, and the commission goes to his agents 30% to the market. It's like a business. Religion has become a stupid business. You can imagine what is interfaith when you understand my practice and his practice, everything has got a natural binding. And that natural binding is not which started 300 years back or 500 years back. The natural binding is from the Krita Yuga, the Satya Yuga. Do your religion has got a standing from Treta Yuga, Krita Yuga? Then you speak. Otherwise, everything is like a small bubble which came. It will end also after some time. Not to end, what do people do? Create large structure, massive programs. And every religious practice has become an activity of food giving so that people can get attracted. Every political philosophy also does that, massive food distribution. Physical is individualistic. Emotional is slightly shared by people who are close to you. Intellectual is what is documented and shared to you. Social is being expanded to the people who have reached up to this level with intellectually higher, then socially become active. When you understand my society and your society, my religion and your religion, everything, the activities are different, paths are different, but the focus is one. Realizing that, where do you reach spirituality? So physical, individualistic, emotional, my pair close to me, who are with me, my family. Next can be a intellectual, where documented, I am trying to learn as much as I can. Then socially, I shared with other people who must have learned similar patterns from different people. When that knowledge came and that found useful for the society, what I reach or gradually migrate is to spirituality. If that doesn't happen, if I don't understand my common people who are close to me, that is what the binding, which is long lasting, which is not a temporal, which is a permanent one. Therefore, the Sanatana Dharma talks about an individualistic approach and a social approach. Two things. Ishta karma, what is for me, Ishta is for my purpose, and Purta karma, for somebody else. And for somebody else, I create a methodology to take care of the nature. Not for human beings alone, all the other living beings, all the two-legged and four-legged and many-legged animals. How do I take care of their well-being? How do I preserve every materialistic thing which I have for the generations to come? What a great, that is Purta Karma. So when you do that, we understand there is a society around me. So it is a learning. It's a learning day by day, living day by day. So there is no stamp on you saying that I am a Hindu. There is no stamp. I am not a Hindu. Just because I got a certificate, I doesn't become Hindu at all. Because I never practice. I don't go to temple. Not necessarily. I don't say Shiva Shiva or Krishna Krishna, Vishnu Vishnu. Nothing is required. Still I can be a Hindu. Because you have that feeling of being in a nature and you spare your time for the nature, for the other. That is what is Loka Samasta Sudro Bandhu. But then we have people who says Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Immediately they say my people and your people and their people. Where is my people and your people and their people when you say Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu? And you say I belong to this group of people, that other fellow is in the other group of people. And I only call this person as my guru. The rest of the people have no knowledge because I did not hear them. I don't subscribe them. No, if I subscribe to everybody, then I can say Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. So I adore. The interfaith should be not I speak about my religion and that is great. Every religion is great. Like Jaipur is beautiful, New York is beautiful, Kerala is beautiful, Amritsar is beautiful. Every one individual place, Britain is beautiful. How can I say because I live in a village in a small place in Kerala? How can I say Hyderabad is bad? Because I belong to one religion, how can I say other religion is bad? Every religion has got a purpose and it is a union. But realize that this is not only the best place to live in the world is not correct. For my standard, for my life, my way of life, this is correct. So religion is only uniting each other. That has become separating people. That is the biggest problem. So interfaith has got a lot. I was there in America 2 times to teach Bhagavad Gita. I taught that in a church, in an interfaith church. And the priest was also the reverend who was the Sunday session was happening. 2 times I guided the Sunday sessions. 2 times, 2 Sundays, the priest was there and he asked me to conduct the prayer in my style, my way of learning. That is what is actually interfaith. Do we have churches and temples open for others to say that this is what you should pray, or you insist everybody to do your prayers, or will you open your temples and mosques and churches and gurudwaras and whatever you call all the prayer halls to make anybody's prayer at any point of time? Then we can say we have reached interfaith. That's why I keep saying the stamp doesn't matter. We are getting educated. So as we get educated more and more, that is why emotional, intellectual, social. When I am social, when I come to your place, you give me the food what I like. Not I force you to eat what I like on you. When a guest comes to my house, what do? I feed you what probably you will like, or I will ask him what is that I should cook for you. Similarly, when I come to some place, I have a choice. Give me an option for that. I don't have a prayer hall. I don't have a temple in Columbus, Indiana. When I went there, the church was open for me to teach Bhagavad Gita. What a great message that universal Unitarian church is giving. Right? And who attended? Christian attends, Muslim attends, Jain attends, Sikh attends, everybody attends. I conducted a camp with 150. Every one of them chanted. I said, if you are ready, let us do your prayer. You teach me, I will learn. My prayer, I will teach you, you learn. Don't say that, no, I belongs to this category. I will not chant your prayer. That God is not in our list. So only God in my list, I will pray. Nothing. I attended many churches. Mosque, they don't permit to go. So no chances. But I've been around. And I know how to chant that also, because childhood onwards, I have a big mic set in which they keep chanting. I've been to Amritsar Golden Temple, had my chapati also there. In Indianapolis also, I went and attended 2 full days I was there. Right? So I'm saying we should have that feeling of going to different places, get into, there are a lot of Buddhist temples in which we got that total silence. We enjoy doing it. Greenwood, there is a beautiful Indiana University campus. Next to that, there is a beautiful Tibetan monk place. I was there. So I said, we need to go and share, understand, educate this to the next generation, give them a choice what they want. Or they don't want this, let them quit and go somewhere else also, no problem. Let them move into different, but we need to educate. What is the basic? And for which the 99.99% illiterates of religious people who just practice without even knowing cannot do this job. So there has to be a very systematic teaching methodology. Like I became a scientist to teach science, not because I've taken birth as a scientist. I learned it and then taught, right? So similarly, anybody must be able to learn anything and then start propagating it. That is what I think the real interfaith should happen like that. And we should have a lot of interfaith centers coming up in which nobody should propagate there. I don't do a business of propagating my food is the best in the world. Let us have a buffet. Let everybody come. Interfaith is like a buffet, I think. Every counter there is food. You taste it and then come back to me again if you like it more. Right? That is what we need. Then probably after some time you realize, oh, all of them contain same ingredient. All of them contain same ingredient, same sugar, maybe same bitter taste, same imli, same salt. Therefore, when you get the taste of it, the taste is spirituality. I can go on and on. This is what I understood.
Well spoken. I am so happy you brought this openness of that vision. What you keep, that's your strength. I have a question. As a scientist at the ISRO, you spent a lot of time at the ISRO, and you had a great position at the Directorate General of Security at the Cabinet Secretariat of India, and you spend so much time with the Swami Atma. Why you left the job and starting your own organization, or you start interacting with the people in different communities? Because that is very important. I'll say that is a great blessing for us. Because a lot of time we need some visionaries coming for the community. What made you to leave the job and start the work for the community?
Why do people take up job? They take up job for a living. Yeah, I need a salary. I need to have my own family. I need to have my own materialistic things around me. Luckily, government has got a system that if you work 20 years, you get pension. You get all the medical benefits. So my life is secured. So I served exactly 20 years so that I am eligible for my pension. So I'm a pensioner from Government of India. To make a life, I don't have to beg anybody. So whatever I do can be a service to everybody. I don't want to charge anyone for any service which I do. So the time I realized that I have got enough earning for my rest of my life until I die, even if I become sick, there is a hospital where I can go and use it like a hotel sometime. No? I keep saying if I go to a hotel, I'll have to pay. If I go to a hospital, I don't have to pay. So that's a government system we have. So what happens is, this is a better opportunity which I thought I don't have to, or maybe my family need not depend on me too much because they're also independent. That gives a great liberty. I don't think anybody can get into spirituality when your head is full of tension. That is why we say brahmacharis are required. In temples, we need brahmacharis, but we don't have brahmacharis as pujaris today. I keep saying you may be chanting ekachame, ekachametra, shashtametra, jashtame, panchachame, but inside their mind what goes is how much money I will get today by the end of the day, otherwise my electricity will not be paid, because inside them the pumping of the materialistic problems will be there. So I am a free person. I have no problems at all. I am a free person. So I realized this is the time when rest of my life, yes, I would have grown higher in government. I was in Prime Minister's office. Manmohan Singh was my boss. So I would have stayed there for a longer time. But if I stay there, then after some time, I will not be able to come out of the government. Right. So there is an option when the wheel is running, you have a torque which allows you to push it. Otherwise, the vorticity will take you not to escape. Escape velocity will not be there. You will have to keep on rolling. So I thought that is the right time where I can quit. And rest of my life, as Dileepji said, when I conducted camps, I think more than Hindu children, more than Hindu children. Though the population of Hindu children are more, I had children of Muslims and Christians coming to my camp. And I'll tell you one fact. It is easy for controlling a Muslim Christian teenager in my class than controlling a Hindu. They don't even have a practice of sitting and listening to lecture other than the subject which gives them mark, because school's education gives them mark, write examination, sit and listen. That is what is being practiced. Whereas I know only two religions, probably that may be true with Sikhism and Buddhism also. They have child practice. Childhood onwards, they will sit and listen to value systems, where marks are given by church also, but only for encouraging them for grading. They have passing and everything is there. So there is a system. Early morning, 6 o'clock, they will wake up, go to mosque, go to church. Hinduism, that's what I'm saying. We have no rule. If you want, you go. If you don't want, you don't go. When in the temple also, you can keep shouting, because the whole noisy sound, no. The prayer itself is noisy in microphone only. I think we need to redefine this. If you don't redefine, that is one way of looking at it. That's why Hinduism is sustaining and all that people say. So I thought I should talk to people, make them to realize what is good in different practices, what is good in learning. How do you learn? The learning and teaching methodology need to be revamped. Just now, today from 6 o'clock to 7:30 before joining, I had a session on sustainable development, growth, education practices. I insisted that teachers need to be trained perfectly. Otherwise, the education system collapses. We redefine, but doesn't happen. So my intention of kitting was working with the teachers, working with the parents, working with the students. That's why I keep saying TPS, teachers, parents, students. My name also exactly matches with what I'm doing. Dr. TPS, teachers, parents, students. These are all the three community. I must have covered more than millions of teachers, millions of parents, and millions of students. It keeps on happening.
Could you share your time with Swami Rama?
Swami Rama was not alive when I became. I only know him through the Living with Himalayan Masters book. But then Swami Vedabharati was the one who called me to ashram. When you go to Swami Vedabharati and sit there in that, it is as good as Swami Rama is alive. Because every word he pronounces, he don't say it is my knowledge. He only says this is what Rama says. So listening to Swami Vedabharati was equivalent to listening to Rama in all wordings. This is the discipline which they imbibed. So I could have very close interaction with Swami Vedabharati. And Swami Vedabharati, generally, they're all high-profile Swamijis. Meeting them, sitting beside them is a big luxury. There were disciples who had with them for 20 years, 30 years could not. But I could had a dinner with him, beside him, had a dialogue. My poetries which I wrote have been corrected by him. So we had a very close binding and relationship. That's one great thing which I did. Probably that has happened because my previous Vedic learning was from Brahmasri KPC Anijan Patadaripada. Because that base of Veda is there, I could go and chant few slokas to him or maybe quote something. When we say something, I am able to answer him properly. So that is why I said that the intellectual growth which you have and the social skill which you have will take you to many people faster. That is the connectivity which we have. So similarly, I think Dileepji and me met only a year and a little months old, but immediately we could connect because that social bondage is there. Between my guru and your guru, there is a bondage. Though I have not met Rama, I could say that where Bua met Rama, what discussion they had, because I learned about his life story as it is, right? I was telling you that Chicago, they met together. How do I know that they met in Chicago? Because I know the life. We are supposed to learn the life of from where we learned. It is so unnatural and alarming that we have so many so-called gurus in India. They don't even tell their guru's name.
Correct.
That is because they cheated their guru and then came. They cannot expose themselves. So I keep asking, when somebody says this is a great guru, I'll tell him, ask him who is his guru. Let him explain who is his guru. Nobody, we don't have Swayambhu, God is there. We don't have Swayambhu gurus, are impossible, right? Maybe you can have multiple, 3-4 people can be there. So my Vedic lesson was from Brahmasri, my Vastu and astrology from Keshavanachari, my meditation, yoga, Samadhi, I cannot use the word meditation. Samadhi yoga was from Swami Rama's disciple, Swami Vedabharati. And that's a great blessing, a combination of multiple things.
Great. Dr. Kribal Singh ji, you want to ask a question? Let me see. Yes, Kribal Singh ji. Question is
Yes,
to Dr. TPS, right?
Namaste. It's nice to see you, Dr. Sashikumar, after a long time. It's interesting you have shaved your beard and all.
I keep seeing Kripalji all the time.
Thank you.
I keep seeing Kripalji all the time because I am following the Interfaith on the YouTube. I am not able to join because of my time constraint.
Thank you, sir. I enjoyed your lecture, and I want to ask you, I'm not a scholar, I'm a clinician. You have a wide experience and science as well as spirituality. Your study of Gita is, of course, profound. I'm sure you also had a chance to glance to Guru Granth Sahib too, as a part of your study. What are I know the similarities, there's so many similarities. What are the differences which you noticed, if there's any?
See, I think the geopolitical situations are different.
Mm-hmm.
The time is different. In the time in which it was written and the time in which this is written is different. Mm-hmm. So the solutions and problems, so the base can be same. Mm-hmm. So there the intention was not that Arjuna is not able to fight. Arjuna knows how to fight, but you should do your job very consciously, improving your questions in you to answer yourself and get convinced. And Bhagavad Gita, the time, the field in which it was given was a war field. That's it. Whereas here we have a smooth life in which people need to get spiritually enlightened by knowledge. So Guru has given knowledge to enlighten the life when you are in peace and how to share with others. That is what Guru's biggest lesson. Their knowledge creation for you to determine what you want to do when you have a crisis. Because that was being taught and many people think that Bhagavad Gita is end of Hinduism. It is not. It is only probably 0.001% of the whole textbook.
Yes.
So Bhagavad Gita is not Hindu all and all in all. No.
Yes. But interesting thing is, like Lord Krishna inspires Arjun out of his depression, Same way Guru Gobind Singh inspires Banda Singh Bahadur, in the south and Nanded, to leave his passive style of life, get up and fight against the terrorism. So there is one interesting similarity, which really is to me outstanding. And Guru Nanak also challenges Babur when he comes, in his when he invades India, and that's probably first time the name Hindustan came, where he says, Khurasan Khasmana Kiya Hindustan Raya. But then also try to bring people together, like an interfaith mechanism. That's why they call them Nanak Shah Fakir, Hindu the Guru, Musalman the Pir. And that's what we're trying to do through the interfaith mechanism and trying to bring together thought processes. Our reality is the same, although there are, like you mentioned, different paths to it. So I find it very fascinating when you talk in a non-denominational manner and more in a broader sense with your background. That's very enlightening. Thank you.
I was blessed to be in Nanded, and I had spent more than 5-6 hours there.
I'm glad you visit.
Amritsar and Nanded, both places.
That's wonderful that you were able to do that. Because that's what really makes us more enlightened, watching each other's places and visiting and learning. Then everyone has their choice, whichever what to do. Thanks.
So now I want to ask, what are the changes we need to make a spiritual community around the globe, not only India? And in India, need a lot of changes. So many things are going well. Sometimes we see a lot of bad news, especially treating women, not all over, some issues. I'm reading through the newspapers, and abuse of children. Forget about the political movement. It's a lot of problems there. Same like the other countries. But we need focus on young children, so they need guidance. What is in your thought? I know you like to work with a lot of young people. Like to hear from you.
Guruji, I like to make a comment. I have to go somewhere soon. We talk a lot about philosophies and things like Satyamev Jayate and this and that, all sort of things. But we need to do that along with it. What actually we're doing in our localities and communities to practice those ideas we talk about. If we can start talking about those things, no matter where they come from, I think we can probably help improve local conditions and then snowball into a better style of peaceful coexistence. That's in my view.
Okay, great. Go back to
Dileepji, if somebody wanted to practice politics, somebody wanted to practice, you need to get educated. Otherwise, what happens is there is a lot of confusions in people.
Right.
So similarly, what happens is we have religious people, those who are not qualified sometimes. Right. And they pretend themselves as religious people and start guiding the rest of the people. That is where we have this problem. We have, I'll tell you, in some of the government temples, to appoint the chief priest, they have an interview to attend.
Right.
They must know how to chant the mantras. Right. But that is not for every temple which we have. And it is not chanting, it is also to understand. I keep saying, if I can attend a yoga practice and then some XYZ can give me a certificate or not, still I can be called as Yogacharya. I remember Swami Rama mentioned sometime, I never call myself as a Yogacharya because I don't know. Can you imagine a person who is at the highest level says he is not a Yogacharya? But here, 3 months of certificate program from some XYZ university, they can call themselves. Similarly, even religious people need to undergo a real rigorous training. They need to get certified. If that doesn't happen, I think they are the people who are leading a lot of rest of the people around. You don't require to start an academic institution, you need a license. You need qualified approval from somebody. You have an ashram where 1,000 people can be accommodated and then you can give everyday life lessons. I don't know, including medicines can be provided. You can run a hospital inside. Probably the chief physician is the person who doesn't require a qualification or what. So religion has become a hiding place for most of that is where this problem has happened. This is true even with churches probably. If you are rich, you are a retired person, you can convince 10 families, I can create a church as my private church and include all of them as part of the community and I can become the priest. After retirement, many people have become priests.
I see in America.
America, that's what I'm saying. My experience in America is what I'm saying. Right? So this is what happens. So how do you, when money, politics, and religion placed all the three together, I think the society is so much alarming. When we think that democracy is very good, but we have got many countries in which 50 years, 40 years, they have grown, developed so much, established themselves with, we call it as anarchy, but we have not reached with democracy that much. That is because we have mixed religion and politics together. In some places, religion and politics goes together, no problem. But here what happens is, religion and politics have been mixed so much, one religion will play how to topple the other fellow's activity. We cannot be totally independent of religion and politics. Therefore, what is to be done? We need a clean barrier between these two. So what is the methodology? Get educated, religious practices compulsory. If one religion can practice religious teaching compulsory, make all the religions to have that. Then only we can say we are so pragmatic in our thought.
Correct.
If only one religion or the other religion can teach, but your religion you are not teaching, what will happen? And unless the education system, every history which we learn has to be understood not by the politicians to determine what sort of history you should teach. I think independent thoughts on history teaching has to be part of this. We have learned a lot of history in India which is totally twisted and unwantedly. So this has created a lot of confusion in the minds of the younger generation. That is why the conflict. If this conflict need to be cleared, our history learning, whatever learned, we cannot do it. Has to be understood. Maybe teachers need to be taught the importance of religion, and academic institution must be out of religious practices, like politics should not be there, election should not be there in academic institutions. We should not have. If at all we have, create different exhibition centers for different religions in every academic institution. Give that responsibility to the society who is there. You don't have to take some religious practices from somewhere, but assume that there is one student or 100 students in an education institution. Create a room with full of books on that religious practices, which some prescribed book or unprescribed book or all that what we want. Keep it as compulsory in every school, whether it is a Christian school or a Muslim school or a Hindu school, or it is a government school or a mixed school. Create different rooms and then put all the textbooks of whatever possible knowledge which we can give our religion. Ask every student to learn everything. That knowledge creation should be done by at least one teachers who can be the practitioners of the religion, can be volunteers there, who can go and teach whoever comes to that room, irrespective of which family which has taken birth, what faith he has. That is the only method to teach religion to everyone. I am so happy when I came to America, like art exhibition, like sports day, annual day, there was a religious teaching day in which every religion was given a room, and there was like a different people came and then spoke. So I had Sikh, Jain, Christian, different categories, Muslim, different categories, and I as a Hindu, one single fellow. We had 16 or 17 people. We were discussing on different religions, and students could ask questions, and then we are supposed to give answers to them. I am happy that they had questions. And there were different rooms in which different exhibits were available to learn different religions. Are we open for that? Then I think the next generation will be little cleaner, unpolluted.
Yeah, they have the outing for temples, churches in schools. Even
Yes.
in your
Yes. Yes.
SPL Badiaji want to ask something.
Namaskar, Dr. Sashikumar. I just wanted to thank you for your very enlightening words, but true Sanatana Dharma is. Of course, we have accepted the word Hindu. It's actually a derogatory word, comes from Persian or somewhere. I don't want to define it. Google defines it. So Sanatana Dharma is a true name. And you have truly enlightened what truly the Sanatana Dharma is. not the way it is being projected in the whole world today, unfortunately. And I just want to thank you. That's all. That's all. I just want to thank you. One thing I would say, what Dr. Kirpal Singh said. I also live in Florida. We are just close. When Guru Gobind Singh first time was encircled in Anandpur Sahib by Mughal armies, he had only 40, 50 young people with him. And when he addressed them, he said, you know what's outside there, but understanding one thing, the Khalsa is not a person, not a robe, not a dress. Khalsa is somebody who cannot be killed, cannot be burned, cannot be torn apart, cannot die. You have to realize this is who you are. When you die in battle, the Khalsa has not died. Khalsa has that spirit of being the one who's attuned with the higher self. So I think that was his lesson. And that's what I think is true spirituality is, that you get aligned with. I thank you once again.
That is what the Upanishad also says. It is not my eye which is seeing. There is a consciousness in my eye which makes my eyes to work like this. Ena chakshushana pashyanti, ena chakshunshi pashyati. That spirit in me is what is the soul. When I say I am happy, who is telling that I am happy? Who is that I who says I am happy? And that I, if you can understand, your buddhi, your manas, man, buddhi, and the soul becomes one. That is what the whole Bhagavad Gita. Udhared atman atmanam. Atmanam avasadhayet. Atmaiva hyatmano bandhu. Atmaiva ripunatma. So when your atma becomes close to manas and buddhi, you understand you are very close to inside of your hridaya.
Yeah.
Hridaya, Uhara, Madhye. In the center of the Hridaya, when you open, what do you see? That energy which controls the whole psychology, whole physiology, whole buddhi, which is the central processing unit. That is called the soul, which makes everything to work. If you can realize it, and you are not controlling, you are allowing to do the way it wants, then my life becomes a conscious living. Otherwise, we are living a life which is unconsciously conscious, consciously unconscious. See, meditation is becoming unconscious. But you are telling, oh, in this webinar, let us all close our eyes and meditate. If that is so simple, the whole world would have been in spirituality long back, right? How can you have a guided meditation in between the session? It's so stupid, yeah. And we keep surrendering to that.
Yeah.
We keep saying, so you are consciously becoming unconscious.
Yes, yoga is just a business. I've anyway, thank you, sir. God bless you.
Yoga is a multi-billion business around the globe and controlled by certain people, especially in America. Even Indians cannot make any money there.
But my prayer is don't call that yoga is Indian traditional yoga. You call it by any name, but don't call it as Indian tradition and spoil India's name. That's only what we are saying. It is not. It is not the traditional yoga.
I remember we used to have the World Yoga Community movement, you know, and some people want to control from Argentina, and they're threatening me, give that name. I said, no, I have the domain. I am not going to get anybody. And I heard one guy is taking all the money and he's raping girls, the yoga students.
Jeez, yeah.
Immediately we had to take him out.
We know the guy. One more thing I'd like to say, sir, that, you know, you said that even the priests in the temples are tested for their knowledge. The politicians should be tested for the knowledge of Constitution of India. They should be. They are ruining it. They are ruining the country. Anyway, sir, God bless. Thank you very much.
Then I would like to, what are your upcoming projects? I know you have World Social Craft Foundation, Shiksha, and some other movements going on.
See, there are a lot of people. Even today, there was a group of youth from Zambia contacted, and they wanted to have a training program for youth because they have a lot of problems. They have a lot of problems. Their youth is going uncontrolled. So I think small program which I did in Africa, here and there, few programs. Such programs are finding its small fruits. All that what I did so far was conducting small camps, probably teaching Bhagavad Gita, looking at it. The movie which I did last 2 weeks was an introduction for how movie can be utilized for transferring our messages for the public in a better visual way. So it is not for doing a movie which I went. We have got possible to create a good team, and way is not very far. I'm sure we can create such a small group of people who will creatively write some small messages which can be taken across. Because if you want to take it to youth, the lectures, seminars, prabhashan, Gita, chanting, and all that may not go. So we need to convert them into in that plate what they will accept it. So palatable to them. So if you can make it palatable to them, I'm sure it will go a long way, and it will get that interest and spirit in many people. So that is my education plans ahead. One of the program which I thought we should have is, my intention is to have such a center where probably we can have a conscious living.
Right.
A conscious living center need to be. It could be a conscious living temple, a temple of conscious living, where any religious people can come and then understand how their connectivity to nature. So I need a farm and a place where they can learn, because we are getting too far from the nature and from the farm. So how agriculture, education, religious practices, and maybe we need to create 3-4 pillars. I'm so surprised, Dileepji. If I accept every invitation, there are at least 20 to 30 people from Pakistan who want to interview me on my different subjects. The other day it was on mind control and mind management sort of a thing. The other day somebody interviewed me, asked him his basic qualification. He's a tailor. He is earning by stitching dress, not a very garment businessman. One tailoring shop, and he earns by money by pressing and then tailoring, and he is talking to a scientist from India in a little bit of broken English and then mixed Hindi. I'm not seeing that interest in many of the people who are so much educated in India. Also have no interest in understanding and talking to people. No? We are not connecting to them. So I think we have a great role to play, in case if we are thinking about, we are actually fooling by doing a lot of things and putting a big package. Inside content has become so less. So we need to create education change, a life change, at least a few centers, if we can create a samples. That is why I keep on going to different farms and learning what farming is. I experiment myself, putting my own hand into that and then see. It's not to become a farmer. I must know the taste of different things. So as part of that farming I learned. As part of that I learned making movie. See, probably one of the maximum number of programs which I was to watch is our Santosh Kulangara has got a beautiful safari channel in which the shooting location hunt is a big program there. There are a lot of movie makers. He keeps coming saying, how do you make a movie? So I learned that before going for practically for a movie. And it is not that what is intentionally what I wanted to do. Luckily in my life, I don't do anything which I want to do. I keep flowing the way I am convenient and comfortable, and there is an option to flow. I keep flowing into that direction. So I am not well decided what I will do in my life next 10 years, next 5 years, next 1 year also. I keep flowing And there are few people who demand, I keep flowing through that direction. That's only what I do.
Santosh Kolangara did a lot of good work for the videoing. Brought so
I
much.
keep watching all of them. And you know, the world through somebody's eyes also is very good, right? So I've been seeing the world. That's why I'm able to connect very fast. When somebody say, I'm from Zambia, I know the life of Zambia, I know the life of Namibia, I know the life of Nigeria, I know the life of different people in the whole world. I don't have to even read it and look at it. I know what is there. The life practice is understood. That's why I said our history learning need to be changed.
Yeah.
I have invested a lot of time in learning history. So that is one thing which I did.
So much corruption in that process happened. That make a big change in the society, you know. And I support that idea, because nature is supposed to be a main role in our life. It is very important. Now we are addicted to a group of business farmers. Farmers are not getting that much. The people in between, you know, they absorb all the money and time.
That is all because of politics only. So it's not farmers, it is the politics which made them as great farmers. You can imagine Andhra has got so much of rice, but still Food Corporation of India gets rice to Andhra from Punjab.
Right.
And Andhra people cannot sell their rice to Food Corporation because that will not be purchased, because government of India purchases only from Punjab. So these are all great politics, which probably a mistake was done by somebody else is being followed.
Yeah, these changes supposed to happen, and that's only through people when wake up. And before waking up, they should be educated, and they should have patience and tolerance and love how to take care of the community. Nothing can happen. And I see each child is supposed to learn how to farm things for their day-to-day life. Each family is supposed to have. You know, I know.
Otherwise, tomorrow, every day from childhood, we are eating rice. I have seen a child of 15 years, 15 years, maybe 10th class age, who asks, rice comes from which tree? They don't know whether it is a big tree or not.
That you remind me. I remember in 91, one of my friend came from my college. He was the chairman of my college, and he lived in city. And he came to my house. My mom was bringing all the turmeric from the soil, you know, and she's washing and showing. He said, "Oh, so this is a root? I thought this is a fruit coming from the tree." Yeah. So he doesn't know, but he used turmeric a lot on their face, you know. So these are the experiences. Somebody asked a child in a school, where milk is coming from? From the shop.
So that is what I said. We need to address this as conscious living. So many of my sessions in these days are very focused on conscious living.
See, we have two ladies in our group. Let Sujita, Dr. Sujita Vasal and Gita Palo, if you want to ask any questions, please.
Namaskar, Guruji. Namaskar, Acharya. It's nice to be with you after so many days. And definitely interacting with you gives a lot of wisdom. So I have been interacting with people around and my sphere politics. So, and I am finding that they are not that least spiritual, most of them. And definitely we need, so don't you feel instead of consciousness, we need a lot of geopolitics or sessions or history in other sense. We need to teach people how the world is interacting as a global village. Dr. TPS, you can answer the question if it seems to be relevant.
See,
I was, yeah.
Continue.
I was interacting with a lot of people around from Afghanistan and from Pakistan or whatever you are telling. Around the globe, we don't know what Israel is doing, what in Afghanistan is doing, what we are doing. So children around the world should know each other as a global village. I feel like that education needs to be more interactive on these aspects of life. You can answer.
See, when I say India is like this, what does it mean? Indian government in its policy is showing it like this. That is one method. Another way is looking at India is, this is how Indian reporters, TV, media is projecting India as this. You can look at the Indian way of politics is different. Indian way of media is different, but Indians are entirely different.
Right.
That is because it is only 1 or 2% of politicians who project themselves, this is India. I'll tell you, I was with the Prime Minister's office, looking at strategic planning in a very global perspective. Those who are in government, probably 99.99% of people doesn't know what India's policies are. It is not an MP knows what India is. It is not one minister knows what India is. Not even Prime Minister know what India is. He depends on so many people who are under him, and they decide how he has to be. Some prime ministers will accept what they are saying. Some other prime ministers will decide themselves with their virtue, experience. They will check with the 2-3 people. I am doing it only based on one opinion from XYZ is different from I am connecting with the 10 people and gathering and improvising my knowledge. So I'll tell you which dress Prime Minister has to wear when he goes to Africa is not decided by Prime Minister. He has no choice to decide. They will watch and see what dress his previous Prime Minister, when he went, what he wore. What is that dress which that other Prime Minister is going to wear on the day when he is going to meet? All these are done by a group of people, and they will make a dress for him, and then he is supposed to go into that. That's it. So when you say somebody is doing great, somebody is not doing great, some media is doing, these are all being manipulated in a high political manner with a set of people. Even today, when Ukraine and Russia, other day somebody was asking me, I said, I cannot openly say what with my experience, but as a common man, I can look at it, right? So what is the role which America will play? It's like a big chessboard. If I move, what is the other fellow will move? I have to be so wise to understand how the chessboard plays so that I can play my move very carefully, right? So it's like a big play. Common people don't even understand. But what has happened today, earlier common people had a great vision, even politically. If I belong to Congress party or Marxist party or BJP or whatever XYZ group I have, I was reading newspaper thoroughly, which is a editor, which is impartial, writing on opinions of different people, condensed and put it into editorial. That has got a very, very, very beautiful filtering process. Everything cannot be written in the paper. Very carefully they edit. But today we have more than 2,000, 3,000 channels, and another 6,000 idiots who will come and speak on different things without even knowing anything. And you subscribe to one fellow because he looks good or he speaks good. So you are misguided. So what happens is the public is misguided, the public is divided. Over popularity is given to people on small issues. I don't know whether Dr. Sujita is looking at my Facebook. I never comment on any public opinions, any activity, any political, nothing on my Facebook. No social media of mine. I will, because I believe it's all correcting people. It is very easy to get your number of hits in your video. Probably if I do a political discussion like this and then put it onto my video, I can get a lakh, which is not educative. So it needs to be learned carefully. So what we need is a great learner who understands, and such people only should be. We have no license today. Everybody can speak on the TV, anybody can speak on the social media. Therefore, don't think that it is a political. What India is not the social media. What India is not that public media. What India is not that TV media or paper media. Similarly, Afghanistan or Pakistan also. There are, for every movement which they do, there is a geopolitical reason. There is a tradition, there is a culture, there is a practice which you cannot overturn overnight. Therefore, it could create some problems. That is what is happening in India. That is what is happening. India doesn't happen so volatile because it's so distributed power. Pakistan had a big problem because president can throw, prime minister can throw. There is a lot of confusion in the constitution. India is very safe because we have made it so much difficult with a lot of amendments. Even a lifetime is not good enough to understand the whole thing, so that you don't know who is holding the power. Correct. So it is so much confusing.
True. So one more question. When we are talking of Sanatan, I try to create a space or something like that. That let's discuss on Sanatan, including all the faiths. But I found it very, very difficult, and found majority of Hindus violating the rules. Myself, I was so much perturbed that I couldn't change the mindset that we are liberal in a way which you always say we are liberal. We invite others to speak up. They don't let them speak up also. So sometime I want a space created by Dr. TPS sir, and let's do it that way. Let's propagate Sanatan in the real sense.
I am not a person to propagate Sanatana Dharma at all, because Sanatana Dharma is the way I live. I have got different dharmas: individual dharma, professional dharma, my religious dharma, if at all I have. I have got my Kudumba dharma, my societal, my friends, my relatives, my students, all that. If I am a social worker, I have got a social dharma. I have got a place where I am living, I have got a dharma according to the, all that together need not be discussed. You learn the value system in which you are supposed to clean these dharmas, individual dharma, and it is a big role to play to balance it. The balancing is what is, that is what I'm saying. If I am conscious about being a teacher, being a family man, being a scientist, being a Hindu, that consciousness is what is required. If I'm conscious about it, while cooking, I must be conscious. While speaking, I must be conscious. While teaching, I must be conscious. So in which I must know what is the purpose. What is required, I must define the objective and purpose. When I cook, I know who is going to come and eat. For him, I am cooking. So if I am cooking for Dileepji, I must cook chicken biryani because I know he likes it, no? Right? But I must also check with him whether he eats that today or not. You understood? His liking is different, his practice is different. So similarly, each one of us has got a liking, each one of us has got a practice. Something is my liking, but I may not be able to practice it because of specific reasons. So what do I need? I need to condition myself. It takes time. The teething time is required. For each individual, it can be different. That's what I'm saying. One single sense of conscious living is good enough to teach the whole practices in this world. That is what is required. I'll take a small break. I'll come back.
Thank you, sir.
Gita Pala.
Hello, Suchita.
Yeah.
I want to know that how to check corruption from the society, whether in India.
Just wait for TPG is coming back. He's taking a quick break.
And
if you want to say anything else, just say. So within that time, he'll be back.
I want to say something that nowadays parents are not giving much time to their children. So they should give much time to their kids and teach them what is good, what is bad, so that they will always be good in their future life. Till they grown up. After that, they will decide what is good or what is bad. That is most important. Nowadays, everybody is working. Husband, wife, both are working, and they are not giving much time to their children. Everybody is running after money. But money is not everything. If your kids are in future life, they will be not good person. That is no use of money.
I had an experience. My mom was a teacher. Dad is not in town, and my brother and sister, they are 10 and 8 years apart, older than me. So when I was 1.5 years, I started my schooling because my mother has to work. She's a teacher, so she has to leave me with the nursery school. I just go and sit there. For me, nothing to do, nothing to learn there. Spend my time. Then I complained to my mother. I supposed to have the experience with my relatives or friends during that 3.5 years, because we used to have starting the school when we are 5 years old. We could directly go to first grade, but no other choice for us. But somehow she brought me to different extracurricular activities, small things. So I had great friends and neighbors that compensate my life. Otherwise, it will be a different lifestyle. So TPG is back. So you want to ask a question, right, Geeta?
Yeah, I heard what Geeta
No,
Palo
sir.
said. So it's nice. Geeta Palo has got a beautiful house. You have got children settled well, they are earning good. You are also very rich. These questions will come. Right? Understand, religion is a business for most of the people for earning. Politics is a business for most of the people for earning. They want a lot of other 99.9% people very poor in this country so that they can rule these people. So unless materialistically we become higher, if food is not there, let the children don't get food. You talk about you have to love your mother. I remember when I said you have to Madru Devo Bhava, Pitru Devo Bhava, Acharya Devo Bhava. When I said I hate my mother because she is a nasty woman. I hate my father because he is a drunkard. You are asking me they are acharyas, all that bhavo, great god-like people, they are devil-like people. That is what the answer comes. Because they don't give sufficient food. They just produce. When an animal produces children, animal has a sense to understand whether there is sufficient food for their children to live in the forest. Then only they produce. If you look at the other day, I was traveling in an auto rickshaw from some place to this place. That person has got 6 children and his earning is not good enough. Do you think their children will respect their father? So value system, all these intellectual, social development, spirituality, all that comes only when physically, materialistically you are comfortable. Understand, there are a lot of people. Afghanistan has a big problem. If everybody is rich, there is no problem at all, even if there is anarchy there. So ruling Afghanistan is not the problem. Afghanistan has been living like this in poverty for long years. You look at wherever there is a problem, it is not the king is spoiling. The king is not making the life of people good, and then the people will start revolting. So physical condition has to be improved. India is, for last 2 years, if you look at it during pandemic, what has happened? 1% of Indian rich people has become richer and richer and richer and richest.
Correct.
Rest of the 99%, I am able to speak like this because I am connected. In my village, if I go and stay instead of Hyderabad, if I go to my village, there is no electricity, no internet connection. The other day, I went for a film shooting in a center where I have to connect to somebody to speak. I have to walk 1.5 kilometers. Then maybe some small signal will come. We have BSNL, which says government. We don't have. You go to some of the villages, it's never connected. It is not a forest. So how do you talk about the human values? Is it talking about the rich fellows? Then it's a different platform. Are we talking about the common people? Then it's a different platform.
Shall I ask a question?
With my volunteers, we were going to a small basti. You know what is basti? A small poorest of the poorest people live. We wanted to educate them. First thing what we did is we gave breakfast to them. And all that is given, then we had a question. I asked to one of the small boy there, why do you think these people are coming and then teaching you, feeding you? Immediately they said they must be getting some money from somewhere. Otherwise they don't do it. Because their parents have taught to them, don't do anything when you don't get money paid. But even if you feed them, tomorrow you ask them to lift a bag and keep it in the car, they will ask you, give me money. Then only they will do it. Because they have been built up like that. So value system is entirely different. And what we do, we talk about the Krishna Katha, Rama Katha. Why people say that the person who is talking also knows nobody is going to listen. But why is he doing? Because with that money only he can feed his children. So spirituality, bhakti, politics, everything has become money-making business for everybody, and somebody is paying something, and it's like, that's what I'm saying. It's like you know that seesaw where you have got a balance. Two people have to sit here and there. If I lift my thing, the whole thing will collapse. No. So we are playing it, balancing play. That's it. That's what we are doing. If country is doing a politics, union is doing a politics between state to country, one country to another country it is playing. That's why I keep saying United Nations is a bigger politics. Politics of politics. India is a politics of politics. Unless
I want to ask another question. If a person has no food to eat, why he is producing 6 children? That is his fault. A person has no food to eat.
I'll tell you, Geeta. When government employee, when I was a scientist, is the time when number of children which you can have in India was controlled. You know what is the rule which says? If you have 2 children, both will get leave travel allowance, both will get medical allowance. Third one onwards, you will not get. You can only discourage people. But this is for people who have a government job. Those who don't have a government job, he believes if you have got 10 children, tomorrow he can sell more votes. Tomorrow he can make more money because all children can go for work. So every parent is thinking, why are you making your son a doctor? Is it because you love them? You think that when he become a doctor, he will take care of me. That is more true with the poor fellows. Because the ration is given for those people. If you have 10 people ration is given by government. But you cannot make them to starve. The control can be given only for people who are working in government. People who have got a very systematic, in some religion. You know, when I went to one of the church for a marriage, one of my colleagues' daughter's marriage event, the priest is telling, our religion is only 2% in this state. All blessings to this married couple, they should produce as many as they can, so that Kerala, our religious group will have, by year 2050, we will have 17% population. I bless all of you to produce as it is a recorded, I am not joking, it is a recorded message which a priest gives.
Some religious people grown like this in different countries.
So if India need to be, see, if every religious people compete in making population larger, luckily that is not happening. Otherwise, India will become the worst place in the world. So I did not mention which religious that fellow belongs to, that auto driver. Everybody knows. If you have 6 people, 6 kids in Hyderabad who is an auto driver, you know which religion they belongs to. This is what the country is. You have no control. Can you send them? Can you kill them? Can you control them? Nothing can be done.
The individual person supposed to educate how to handle, if I don't have income, how to take care of children. But when they got emotions, or husband, wife, or boyfriend, girlfriend, they want to have a copulation, what we can do? We cannot control. Government cannot.
You can imagine, Geeta, when you get a plate of rice, in your table you are getting rice. The rice is being sold for 2 rupees per kg. And 1 kg rice, minimum 4 people can eat, say. So after cooking, when it comes to your plate, also cost only 2 rupees. But do you know the production cost of that rice?
Yeah.
The price is 2 rupees. But production cost will be minimum 3,000 rupees. The land cost, the water cost, the agricultural, the seed maintenance, the human cost behind it, fertilizer, whatever you have, transportation, everything you add, 1 plate meal which you are eating for, even in the 5-star hotel when you are paying, or maybe in the best hotel you are paying, I don't think nobody pays more than 5,000 rupees in any normal hotels here, right? Don't think it is 2 rupees. That is what I want. I am looking for a message to the world saying that India is giving rice for 2 rupees, but the cost of the rice is 3,000 rupees. Who is subsidizing it? Government is subsidizing. For what purpose? For increasing population. For what purpose? For vote bank. That's why I'm saying we have a dirty politics. So unless we educate people on this, we need to send a big message saying that even government says, when in a political scenario, a chief minister candidate declares, I am going to give rice for 2 rupees. That's when the rice became 2 rupees. Another chief minister immediately said, I will give for 1 rupee. Everybody clapped, great person, and they become chief minister and ruled. At cost of who? Are we not asking this question? Why are we not asking? He has to be imprisoned and then made into starve. If he can produce rice with 1 rupee cost, then only you should eat. Otherwise, you die starving. That should be the punishment given to these politicians. Then they will realize.
Richard Jordan.
Jordan must be wondering why in politics is getting, hair will go off.
Jordan is a long time NGO person at the UN.
I came in at the right moment. No. This is, I'm always at the right moment. Guruji will know this. At the United Nations, I will just make a comment on the United Nations and then to the subsidized food. At the United Nations, I'm from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. I am sitting in one specific place. Guruji knows this. He will come in the morning. I'm sitting in that place. He will come in the afternoon. I'm sitting in that place. You come at night. I'm still sitting at that place. Why? Because I observe. I don't know what I'm observing, but I know that what I observe, I may be able to use during the rest of the day to help just one person find a meeting or find something. So it is not up to me to do anything. It is up to me simply to be present and to observe. And then if I go at 6 p.m., nothing has happened, nothing has happened. If something has happened, wonderful, something has happened. Now, just one word on subsidized food. I won't name the senior center in New York, but it is subsidized by a former mayor of New York. And I can eat 3 home-cooked meals a day. Anyone can come. Homeless, no charge. Anyone can come over 60, pay from minimum 1 penny to maximum $1. So my 3 home-cooked meals a day in New York City would cost 5 cents each, or 15 cents. 1 week is $1.05. So by doing this, I am liberated from having to buy expensive food simply because the mother of the former mayor used to go to this place and she liked it very much. So from his own money, he has subsidized the food for the senior citizens and the homeless. So he doesn't advertise this, but we all benefit. So it's, sorry, it's just a story, but I'm very, your division of the dharmas is very interesting because I have not considered this. So I now must think about this through the day. So very useful when I came in was exactly the right time. Thank you.
So when,
okay, thank you, Guruji.
When Dr. TP is coming to New York, you can meet Richard.
And I will subsidize the rest of your cost. No charge.
Sujita want to ask something, right? No. That was very interesting dialogue we had today. I'm happy TP able to join today. And I saw on Facebook live stream over 300 people are watching the program, and some people are connecting me and making some comments. So this is in their world. I see so many great leaders. They pretend they're great. They don't have any idea how to serve the community. So egoistic, greedy. There's no love from them towards the regular community. I see that too. So we need a new generation, those who really care about the community.
Actually, Dileepji, they don't have ego. You create ego. See, I'll tell you, we had a session soon after my Bhagavad Gita sessions. And you gave a great award to one person who came and spoke to you for 10 minutes. Are you not creating ego on him? And actually discarding somebody has spent a whole 3 months, 4 months of lecturing Bhagavad Gita was ignored.
Yeah, that is.
See, what happens is, this is the mistake of people. What you do is, what Dileepji is doing is also the same. You are creating, you are calling somebody who is a mayor who may speak to you because they have a position. It is not that they have a great message to say. Got it? So we are all behind the people who have got power position. They have already some ego. You are adding ego to them.
Adding to it. Correct.
You must identify people who have no ego, who are maybe open, who don't care. I don't care what others think about me. No? Those who have got some creative thinking, who can contribute something to the society, need to be considered. But that doesn't happen most of the time.
Right.
Everybody, that is what I'm saying. See, the digital scenario has become so polluted. I also played a role there to understand how it runs. Unless you play a role, you don't understand. I spent 5 years to get my PhD with hard work in mathematics. Right? But the other day I saw somebody putting on Facebook saying he has got 250 honorary doctorates. In last 1 year, 250. That means almost every day he is getting doctorates. Is it not actually mockerizing and people should be punished for that? See, we have a cricketer who denied his PhD, which is given in Karnataka, saying that he knows the value of PhD because his father and mother got a PhD with hard effort. I also played a role. I'm saying I want to know how does it work. So I played a role to get, I also got a honorary PhD. It's so simple to get a PhD today. You give me today, in 1 year time, I'll get 300 PhDs from different. And what is your qualification to say that this fellow is good? Everybody can create their own organization and then start certifying he is the best teacher in the world. How do you know this fellow is the best teacher? I only know through one chat. And I said, the world best peacemaker. What is that peacemaker he must have made? See, it has become so mockery. So the certification has no values at all. Merit has to be based on. So if somebody reads, I don't know whether Dileepji, did I give my biodata to you saying this is what I am? No, I don't. On Facebook also, I updated very recently to play this role. Otherwise, it was just Dr. TPS. Nothing was there. I just put some information. Immediately, somebody came and gave me a PhD. So it has become who has, not even economy, politics, awards, rewards. I was with the Prime Minister's office, so I know how somebody gets all Padma Bhushan, Padma Shri. No, you individually people have to go and beg a member of parliament to sign their application. Can you imagine the pity? And what are they doing with their Padma Bhushan and Padma Shri? So I have no regards. And there is no ego for people. It's only adding ego by the people around them. That's the problem. We should stop this. At least genuinely, I don't do this. If I have a dialogue, I have a discussion, I have something, I feel that somebody has spent the time with me, I recognize them with some probably certifying that, you are with me. As a recognition, I do it. That's it. Yeah.
Sujita, want to ask something?
I want to add. Guruji, I want to ask a bit. So, when you interact with people, you were talking about food. People don't want food; they want liquor.
Yeah.
And they are the masses who are creating chaos in the world.
See, there are two types of people who don't want food. One who loves spirituality, they don't want food. One who loves spirit, they also don't want food.
Okay, got it.
Either spirit or spirituality, both are balanced. See, it is addiction. You understood? It's an addiction. There is a beautiful Malayalam movie which came, which is called Vellam. Vellam means water, but in colloquially it means drink. In Western country, people are not drunkards. They drink. But in Eastern or maybe the poorest of the poorest countries, it is not I drink alcohol, alcohol drinks me. That is where we don't have control. We become addicted. That is true with most of our relationships also. The Western relationships are so simple, right? Actually, Bhagavad Gita is accepted by Western people, understood well because they know what is attachment, what is detachment. They have no bondages. Eastern people only don't understand this detachment, attachment, bondage and all that. It's very difficult. We have great rulers, which says that I keep saying Shankaracharya left his family and he became a spiritual man. And we all admire them. But when a parent goes to a Shankaracharya Mutt and then say, give your child for Shankara Mutt, they will say, no, we will not give. Every parent goes to Swamiji to bless them. You have to become a doctor, you have to become a scientist, you have to become a politician, you have to become a judge. But let the Swamiji give a blessing that let you become a Swamiji. The parent will take the children and run away from the Swami. See, you can go to a Swamiji to get a blessing, but you don't want your children to become a Swamiji to bless others. What a pity is this? It's an addiction.
Jordan want to ask something.
Thank you, Guruji. You have unmuted me, which is dangerous. So after this, I will have my second meal like Guruji. I only eat 2 meals a day. So there goes the spirit, and there goes the spirituality. So nothing. At the UN, we can't really tell jokes or make people laugh because almost everything would be improper against someone. So you don't say anything. I love, which Guruji may not know, I love to play practical jokes, especially when I am speaking to a large group of people who may not know me and who may think that titles are very important. So I was once introduced at a conference. I was following a wonderful speaker whom I love very much, a real spiritual teacher, who said sometimes we have to invent a title in order to make people listen, and then we can uninvent. So someone came to me and said, "You're the next speaker. How should I introduce you?" "Oh, okay. I am the president of the Center for the Recycling of New York City." Meaningless, no such thing, no such person, no such organization. So I am introduced, and the person is very serious, and everyone applauds. And I said, "Well, thank you very much. Actually, I am neither the president nor is there a Center for the Recycling of New York City, but the previous speaker said that sometimes we should invent titles and organizations so that we are heard." And everyone realized that my joke was not only to myself, but to all of them. Forget the titles, forget the organizations. Let's just try to speak the truth to each other. So be very careful, Guruji, next time you introduce me, I may not be who you think I am.
Richard, when I was a speaker with one English professor from America, one English professor from Britain, in a small place in Kerala. I was not an English professor, but I was part of bringing them. So one of the professor could speak little Hindi. Hindi is a most spoken language in India. So he could say, "Get me tea" in Hindi, and "thank you" in Hindi. So 2-3 words he knows. So he was introduced that our great speaker from Britain can speak Hindi. So they asked me to write in a paper my detail. I said, "I am Dr. T.P. Sashikumar. Dr. T.P. Sashikumar speaks English." If a British person can take pride for speaking 3 Hindi words, why not an Indian can take pride of speaking so many paragraphs of English?
I can say Jai Hind, so that qualifies me. I'm speaking Hindi.
Great knowledge. So you can speak Hindi. Enough.
That's a real interfaith. At least you can pronounce one word. That's enough.
You're a Hindu. Finished.
So I hope the New York City will open within few months. We can have a physical conversation here. And TPG is ready to come anytime to New York, no problem. So I hope by April, I think. Seems like. So 24th, we have a prayer service at the chapel. If Jordan is going to outside, he can join. I think around 1 to 2:15 we have. And let us see how we can do it. It was a fun today. Last week we had a laughing yoga. That now is implementing.
But I will tell you that laughing yoga is an consciously making fun. But here, unconsciously,
that is much fun.
Yeah, this is actually the laughing yoga. The other one is,
Yeah.
this is what I'm saying. We should not do such playing items with the KG children. We are not KG children. We have grown little higher.
So I remember when I was in college, in the evening we all go to the Subhash Park, that is near the Maharaj College. And some people get upset. Why you guys are going there? Our part is just relaxing, having fun. Just talk different things and laugh. Like 2 hours we spend every single day. So we had a great time with all the friends. I didn't see that part when I came to New York. It's totally different. People are so serious. If I say hi to somebody walking in front of me, they say, what is going on wrong with this guy? After 2 times, they became friends. Slowly, I start like that, making friends with the people. It's a very interesting life here. Anyway, let us see. So glad TPG gave us a wonderful day with his vision and mission. We'll see how we can do things together. I think like-minded people coming together make a change. We had to go in different ways. Sometimes I think why I'm doing this in different activities, but we don't want to give up. We had to go through the experience.
No, but Dileepji, if you read Yati Charitam, did you read Yati Charitam?
Yeah, I read.
The Yati was a great guru from India who has traveled all across the globe. Maybe 26 universities, he was a psychology professor. But his basic qualification was 8th grade, I think. Dileepji knows very closely him.
Right.
When he went abroad, there is a small chapter called Yatra. Yatra means travel. His travel is explained. So when he went around the US, came back, his students, disciples asked him, how was America? He said, beautiful girls. He's a great spiritual master. He makes such jokes. See, he says, there is nothing wrong in seeing the world as it is. The perception which you have in you is not the perception others have. So what I share is not my perception. What you are supposed to perceive is what I'm supposed to share. If I don't have the perception what the receiver is going to perceive, I become so artificial. So what is that? That knowledge for me to understand how do others understand is the master's role. So I keep saying a teacher needs to transform to a master so that they understand the students and accordingly feed. So everywhere it is not same. It could be entirely different. So adaptivity is one great thing about a human being. Nice. We had a great day.
Yeah, we had a.
I was also part of government. I left the government because we cannot make jokes there.
Too serious.
Very serious. I was a scientist in Space Department. I worked with the Prime Minister of India's office. So you need to be very serious, right? So Dileepji asked, why did you left? Because I don't want to be very serious in life.
That's a good move, you know. Like my brother spent so much time in the army. Then he asked me, I can continue more years. What to do? I said, you should leave the place. He said, are you sure? He was stuck there in the army for a long time, and the mindset will change. You know, so have a real life. Oh my God! Anyway, I'm happy that we had a wonderful day today. A lot of laughing today. My day already made. We have a Chinese parade today. So let us see. So see you again tomorrow. We have few doctors going to speak on COVID tomorrow. Thank you.
Namaskaram. Thank you.
See you. So thank you, TP.